All right. Hello, buddy out there. Welcome to the Mebois Podcast, episode 4. I'm Josh,
And I'm Ray.
and today we're going to talk about the new buzz, the new thing, Gillette, and their hate for men.
Dun, dun. And I guess also, apologies in advance because we're both kind of sick.
Yeah, me and Ray have been making out against the doctor's orders, and
Making out 15,000 kilometers away.
yeah. Well, the thing is, our Gillette razors have made our chins and lips so smooth that we couldn't resist. In fact, that's the only way to stave off toxic masculinity. But anyway,
See, we wouldn't have this problem if we had beards. All the bacteria would be there.
that's true. I guess we better boycott Gillette. Anyway, so, yeah, I guess it was a week ago, Gillette came out with this ad, basically taking their slogan, the best a man can get, and sort of spinning it to the best a man can be. So, like, basically framing it in the sort of Me Too, men should hold other men accountable type frame. And it riled quite a few feathers. I'm looking at YouTube now, and the video's got 23 million views and over 1 million dislikes.
According to some of the comments, like, apparently YouTube is taking down some of the dislikes and comments, but you never know.
That's the thing, yeah. I hear that all the time. I don't know how much I believe it, because I think, like, people like to get on YouTube and they like to get on the companies to sort of double down. So, like, until I have proof of that,
Basically.
yeah, until I have proof of that, I'm always sort of skeptical. But I could imagine, big companies especially working with YouTube to sort of help fix things a little bit. Although at that point, you might as well just turn off the comments or whatever. But then you'll get made fun of even more.
Yeah, but at least they wouldn't be able to read it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you, Ray. What are your general impressions of the commercial? Do you think it deserves the backlash it's getting?
So I guess a bit of context for when I watched it. I wasn't aware, like, I didn't watch it because it was like, oh, there's this big controversy. I just happened upon it. Like, I think I saw it on the Guardian YouTube channel. And I thought, like, I think the overall message itself, the message that Gillette thinks it's sending is fine. Like, I don't think anyone has a problem with the message that Gillette says they're trying to send, but I think it comes off the complete opposite way.
Right.
So, like, I've seen ads that handle similar subjects who do it just so much better. I guess a direct comparison would be the Dollar Shave Club, who, funnily enough, is, according to Twitter, they're getting a lot of business because of the Gillette ad. I'm throwing out my Gillettes now.
Well, that's funny to think of it just like from the business perspective, how it's interesting in that, like, Gillette's sort of doubling down on certain demographics, and then, like, people will destroy products that they already own, sort of like the whole Nike controversy with Kaepernick, and then they'll also purposefully go out and buy products from a competitor even if they don't really need the products at the time. So it's basically like voting with your money, but I don't know, but they're also weirdly vocal about it on, like, social media and stuff. It's very interesting.
Yeah, one of the most vocal opponents the ad has is none other than Piers Morgan. Ooh,
Oh God, I hate that guy.
yeah, everyone does. But I think, hey, if you're pissing off Piers Morgan, sometimes that means you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, that's the weird thing well, spoiler alert, I don't like the ad. But it's interesting to see that like a lot of at least a lot of the like the publicly out there people about not liking the ad, like I don't like either.
Yeah, it's a really hard thing for like, for the most part. I hate Piers Morgan. I think he's pompous. I think he invites guests to his show and then asks them questions, but he never lets them answer. He just interrupts them all the time, and he's like, "Oh, see, you can't even answer it." I'm like, "No shit, you're not letting me answer the question."
No, he's complete annoying twat.
Yeah, so it's difficult when you agree that, well, you have an agreement where you both, for example, I don't like this ad, he doesn't like this ad, so I agree with him in that sense. But it's just like, I agree with Piers Morgan.
Yeah, it doesn't make me like Pierce Morgan anymore. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a funny thing. Also, the other funny thing that I realized is like, so all of this is sort of like, oh, they're challenging like the social construct of manhood or masculinity and things like that. When shaving itself is, I think, also a social construct.
Yeah.
The idea that men have to be clean shaven, which is obviously it's more prevalent in some societies than it is in others.
Well, yeah, I mean, in some societies, you're definitely not supposed to do that.
Yeah. But I do want to start off by talking about the things I did like in the ad, because there are a couple of things I did like.
Okay, that's an interesting angle. Let's hear it.
So they had that bit in, like, I guess in the middle where they showed the good examples of men being men. For example, the dad in the bathroom with his daughter, telling her that she's strong and all that. Do you remember that part?
Yes.
I thought that was a great addition. I thought, yes, that's a positive example of what it is to be a dad, a positive role model to children. And then there's also that guy, that fight that went viral maybe 2 years ago. The guy stepping in, stopping two teenagers from beating the living shit out of each other.
I always felt like that was staged, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of whether or not it's staged, it's still
Right, the message was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The message is you don't have to fight, and at least in that one, you know, it's recorded on a phone. It's not like the acting in the ad where the guys are like, "Oh, boys will be boys, we'll be boys, we'll be boys." You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was like, it was the part where they're going boys will be boys and they're going down the long line of grills. It felt very much like some sort of weird art movie. I was like, whoa, Gillette's going somewhere interesting here.
My dude.
Yeah, right? They're cooking up some masculinity.
Yeah, so the inclusion of those two clips, I thought was really smart, and I thought, yes, those two guys are great examples of what it is to be a man, basically.
Yes.
We just do the do the clap emoji.
Before and after the word.
Yeah, and like I said, I do agree with the overall message that, you know, in certain scenarios, we do have to kind of, maybe police each other is not the right word, but, you know.
Well, that's...
On the right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I feel like, I guess that's one of the problems I sort of have with the ad is the idea of people policing people. I mean, that's sort of how society works. People do police people, but
right, exactly.
It's weird when you start bringing a corporation into that. And so now, not only does Gillette want to control how you look socially, they also want to control how you act socially. Even though in this context, pretty overall positive, I would say. It's like, hey, don't harass women. It's like, okay, I can get behind that. However, Gillette telling me to do that doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, that's also the sort of weird thing. Like, the moral high ground coming from this company who used to basically advertise on women's bodies.
Yeah.
And hey, they mark up prices for women's razor blades.
And, you know, because this has been a thing. Like people have talked a lot about like
Women's products versus men products.
yeah, I don't know, like they call it like the women tax or something like that, or you know, something along those lines. And
Pink tax.
sure, but
Actually, I think that is the actual term.
yeah, I think you might be right. But my problem with that is just that if you're someone who feels obligated to buy a pink razor over a teal razor, then okay, you're paying for that choice. Like, you should know that razor blades aren't any different. They're basically all exactly the same, and they've been the same forever.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you're shaving with. Men and women don't have like wildly different skin that that these products try to get it across.
Yeah.
It's just no, just buy whatever generic product you want, and if you see something that says, "Oh, this pink razor is $7 as compared to," well, it's probably more expensive than that, but like $7 compared to $5, then okay, I just won't buy that product, and then the market takes care of that. That's what happens. But no, people are tied to that identity, and so they make that choice. Can you say that that's wrong for them? I don't know. I would say it's stupid, but I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, that's their choice. But going back to the Gillette thing, you said that you liked the mirror scene with the guy and his daughter.
Yeah, well, that was like I've seen that on social media before, and I thought that's a cool dad, and I thought it was a good touch to include his video and that guy who stopped the fight.
The thing I'll say about that though is that I do agree. Like it was a nice moment. However, whenever I see a video like that, I'm always thinking about the camera. Right? It's like you
How
could
it's a
argue.
phone.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what model phone he has.
No, I mean like that
No,
it's a phone camera or that it's not a professional
no,
camera.
the fact that he's
Oh, that he's doing it for views.
yes, the fact that he's recording it,
Oh God, I don't
and
know why I went the other route.
I'm like, dude, you don't even have a 4K camera. What are you, an idiot? Um, how are you gonna raise a daughter if you don't have the right camera? But no,
Boom.
it's just that I get bothered by people recording things like that because, like, basically, whether you're getting money for the video or not, maybe you just think it's a good example to put out there and people will enjoy it, and obviously people enjoy it and maybe learn something from it or maybe something along those lines. Okay, whatever, but you're still like strangely monetizing on, even if you're not directly making money, but gaining influence or anything like that on a child who probably doesn't know the full extent of what exactly you're doing. And so you're recording them and putting them online, and you're portraying it as like a natural social interaction, where in reality, nobody knows how you act off of camera. I just always get so weirded out by moments like that.
Right. I get that. I think, like I'm not entirely sure, but I think this was more of a social media video. This dad shooting this and then sharing it to his friends, and it's just one of those things that went viral. But I'm not 100%
Right.
sure about that. I'm not sure if it was put on YouTube, just to put on YouTube to show everyone, or if it was something that he wanted to share with his friends who happened to share it and share it and share it and share it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not, it's certainly not my least favorite part of the video. Like, I think, that one I'm kind of iffy on just because of the recording thing, but like in general, the acted and staged parts where, you know, the guys helping out the kid who was being chased by those kids through the whole video, I think that's what they were doing.
Yeah, they were chasing him through the set, and then chasing him through a house, and then chasing him on the street. All over America, they were chasing him.
What was weird to me those are some dedicated bullies, by the way. At that point, I would just let them beat up the kid.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys will be. But so at first I thought that those kids running, because they like break through the film screen of like the woman kissing the man and like those classic ad styles. I thought they were supposed to be like the new generation who's saying like, no to all that. We're the new boys and we shave our faces and that means we're good boys. But
we're the me boys.
Yeah, we're the me boys. But no, it turns out they were just chasing a kid to bully him, so I didn't get that. But the parts where they're sort of showing like positive examples and sort of showing like, hey, kids are watching, and when you're a good example to kids, then they'll probably grow up to be better people. That felt like an entirely different ad that was much more reasonable, and it felt like a lot more grounded. It's still sort of like trying too hard to be wholesome and a little cringy in that way, but once again, it's an ad for a razor, so anything that's not razor related is going to be a bit cringy and far-fetched.
Pretentious.
Yes, pretentious. I mean, the problem is, right? I don't like the commercial, but I'm not pretending that it doesn't have any sort of positive message. The problem is when you start it by framing a group of people in a way, it just, anything you do is open to so much more criticism. So like when they talked about, or I don't know if they directly talked about it, but you know, they had this section of the kid getting the texts or whatever, and basically talking about bullying.
Yeah, right in the beginning, and he's hugging his mom. Crying.
Yeah. So like there you go. It's like, okay, bullying, real problem. The problem is you've started this commercial by framing it in the context of men. And so all of a sudden, by only mentioning men and then bringing up bullying, you're implying that bullying is a male issue. And it's like, well, no. So as I'm watching that, I'm like, well, no, everybody bullies. I mean, people are pretty equal in that way. Even though they might not even be implying that it's a male-only issue, but because they've put it in this context of this product and also this demographic, you're watching that and you're saying, okay, they're blaming men for all bullying, basically.
Well, I'd go to say that it starts right at the very beginning of the video, because you see several men looking in the mirror, which to our minds is immediately like self-reflection, right?
Yeah.
And the first
literally,
the first words you hear are bullying, sexual harassment, Me Too, maybe. So it's like, it's along those lines. So immediately that's how the video is framed.
Right.
And yeah, and then I don't know, I just thought that the video comes off as condescending and blatantly pandering.
Yes.
And I think that's where the good intention of what they were trying to say, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's what they wanted to say, and then maybe they just, it was just poorly executed. I think that, let's say that's what they wanted to say, and it just, because of the execution, that message got lost.
And let's be clear too, the best case scenario is that they wanted to profit off a socially relevant message. So that's the problem.
Absolutely.
That's the problem in situations like this, is that even if they executed perfectly, it's still coming from a company, and therefore they're trying to increase their value either in sales or just in social goodwill. It's about selling razors. So yeah, it's the best a man can be. So yeah, there's a very solid ceiling at how good it can be. Is like, okay, it can only be a good ad at that point, and the floor doesn't stop. It doesn't stop at 1 million dislikes. It keeps going. It can get worse.
Well, I guess as an ad, did it succeed? Because I would imagine, yes, because everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, you got the weird thing where whenever anyone gets negative attention, they say all press is good press because they're getting all this attention.
Is that necessarily true or not?
It's kind of like Soulja Boy with his Soulja Game consoles. He's like, yeah, but look at all this attention I'm getting.
And I'm not sure if I buy the whole idea that this has absolutely tanked Gillette.
No, it hasn't.
But if this, let's say let's say hypothetically that this does tank Gillette, then that would probably be the only situation where it didn't succeed. I guess it's kind of obvious, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. The only way that this would not be profitable for Gillette is if it decreased profits.
If it went bankrupt.
Yeah. I think our ad didn't work. Well, no, but that's an interesting thing too, is that in the same way that moves like this by companies sort of bring out people with extreme opinions who end up, throwing away their Gillette razors and putting it on social media. By the way, I find that way more pathetic than someone, recording a video of their daughter in the mirror saying that she's strong, is the people who take the time to take a picture of them getting rid of a product that they paid for.
I saw someone smash shaving cream with like a fucking hammer.
Like a tube
Gillette razor. Yeah.
Did it explode?
Shaving cream. Someone, I think so.
Did it? Did it blow shrapnel into their face? I don't think you're supposed to hit those things with hammers.
It might have been a mallet. It was a big hammer. He had enough space between him. Don't worry about that guy.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not. I mean, look, natural selection will take care of him. But in the same way that those people sort of come out and start making a presence, people who don't care at all about razors or anything, in the other extremes, will sort of come out and support the product. Which, once again, I'll emphasize, they're supporting a product as much as they're supporting an idea. They believe people who are going against or for this, they're just supporting a product. That's all that it really is. The idea is bigger than one commercial, and nobody's going to remember this in a month. But
probably less, honestly.
Yeah. People will probably reference it in the future when more companies make ads like this. But you'll get those opposite people who will applaud Gillette and say, "Oh, look at all these man babies who are getting upset about this. Yes, you go Gillette." Et cetera, et cetera. And maybe they'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna go buy Gillette products now," or whatever. And half those people who say that shit don't even do it. But you've just got a bunch of losers on both sides making shit happen, and I don't know. Maybe Gillette will profit from it. I mean, they certainly got a lot of views. I mean, when was the last time someone went and looked for a Gillette commercial? In fact, the only reason people buy Gillette is because it's like, or at least in the U.S., it's like the most common brand on the shelves.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, it's probably the biggest, like, men's shaving, or what's the word for the all-inclusive word for like shaving and foam and
like
toiletry.
You can call it toiletry or like men's care. Or,
yeah,
I don't know.
It's probably the most recognizable men's care brand in the world.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But yeah, I think that was the thing I hated the most about all of this is all the people who said, "I'm throwing my shit away," or "Oh, I'm getting more of that." Like, who cares what you're gonna do?
Gillette does. That's the point. Everybody wants points with Gillette.
Like, you know what I mean? To announce it on Twitter, like, people care what you specifically I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
No, I completely
It's
understand what you're saying.
and then all these people who are like, oh, if you don't like this ad, you are pro patriarchy, you're pro, all this shit. Like it's crazy. Like how you can't dislike a video anymore without having some sort of motive behind it.
Yeah, it's like because I don't like corny acting, I'm very anti-feminist. Uh, the the
And
Gillette ad has made me a men's right activist.
yeah, and so I mentioned that there were two companies that did it better, and maybe we'll link those two ads in the description. But so Dollar Shave Club, which is a direct competitor, they posted an ad. I don't know what year it's from, but they had an ad where it's definitely, you can tell it's a studio. Everyone has their own little IKEA bathroom stall. You know what I mean by that?
IKEA bathroom stall.
So like they're like, for example, they're like 30 dudes in one shooting studio, and they all have their own little bathroom.
Okay.
So everyone's like shaving shaving to the point where it's dumb. Some guy's just shaving it down to a mustache, some guy's keeping his beard, some guy's styling his hair, and all this. And the song playing in the background is I've Gotta Be Me.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotta be me, I've gotta be me. And the great thing about that ad is like that's an all-inclusive ad. It had like a drag queen in it, shaving their legs, and then at the end of the ad, all these guys walk out happy, proud, in their underwear, and they're like, they're they're shaving, or they're doing their own men's care in their own style. So I thought that was a cool ad.
Right.
That's a similar message.
And then they go, boys will be boys, boys will be boys.
At the largest barbecue ever.
And then they all went out hand in hand and went and harassed a woman.
The other ad was from a watch company, and I want to say they're European because the owner had a European name. I think it's called eGuard watches. And
eGuard.
yeah, eGuard. And their commercial, it had statistics behind like how many men die doing like one of those dangerous jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They had the suicide statistics for men and all this, but in the background, what they had was video clips of like firefighters and all these like really dangerous jobs, and a little bit inspirational music behind it. And I thought that is a better ad to inspire guys to be the best men they can be.
I think the difference there, though, is that the Gillette ad is focusing on men in the context of women. So
Yeah,
I think that sounds... I haven't seen the watch ad, but I think the watch ad more so is like, I don't know, it's trying to make you feel cool, I think.
probably. But yeah. I mean, yeah. There's definitely a difference in context about that, and this is definitely more about how men interact with women. The Gillette.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I just had one more thought of something I sort of was picking up on, in that when in the commercial, when the men are looking in the mirror and they're contemplating while these news voices talk about these issues, most of the men who are looking in the mirror are clean shaven, and there's maybe one or two, but they've got like trimmed beards or whatever, and it's just, in my mind, for some reason, I put together, I got this feeling that somehow Gillette's sort of implying, like, in order to be a better man, because I mean their whole thing is the best man can get, you should shave, but it's weirdly implying in this commercial, at least to me, that in order to be that sort of best man who holds other men accountable, you also need to be clean shaven, which is pretty convenient for a razor company. I don't know if you got that impression, but I was sort of picking up on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah, it was definitely there because, yeah, like you said, they're all clean shaven.
Yeah, and like the first guy in the beginning, he had a bit of a beard, although it looked like he was looking down at a razor, thinking about shaving it. Which I think that's what started it for me, was like, he's hearing these things and he looks contemplative. Is he thinking of shaving his beard because he doesn't want to be associated with masculinity? And it's
so the beard represents the masculinity and all the toxicity. And
right.
You gotta shave that away.
Yeah, I mean, we're we're being funny, but like I legitimately think that might be the subtext.
Yeah, I was being serious. I don't know why I said it in a funny voice.
Well, because the whole thing's ridiculous and it's funny. At the end of the day, I'm not somebody who's going to get mad about something like this, because once again, they're a company. They have no influence over my life. They want to apparently have influence over my life, but no, I don't care. And these people who care so much on either side, they don't have influence over my life either, thank God. But it was very weird that, you know, the people who seemed to care mostly had, you know, either very trimmed beards or shaved beards, and that somehow made them more thoughtful and more aware of, like, hey, let's not harass women. Let's just not do these things that make common sense not to do. And like, even like they showed Terry Crews. Once again, he's a great example of you know, a man not letting him being a man get in the way of holding people accountable.
Right, and I guess also the other thing about Terry Crews is, like, on first glance, a guy like Terry Crews, you would never think something like that happened to him because he's a big, strong guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for him to go out there and like, basically share his story to support the movement is a powerful thing.
Well, yeah, and just why I was bringing him up was because he has a very tightly shaven goatee, but
yeah, that too.
Yeah, but no, like that, and like some of the other examples when, you know, they're watching out for the kids or whatever. It's like that felt like a different ad, where it's like, okay, no, this makes sense. These are good things. These are things we should be striving for, but not just. It's in the context of men here because it's a largely male product line, although they do have, although once again, male and female products, pretty stupid in my eyes, but they sell, so whatever. But these are great things to bring up, and you're framing it in the context of men, which is like, okay, you can do that properly, although it's hard. So those things sort of felt like, okay, this sort of works, but then the other stuff was just like, it's like you might have had something, but you completely borked it from the beginning.
Yeah, and I think the last point I have about it is, as a video, there seemed to be, maybe I'm nitpicking, production value, I don't think was great on it. Do you remember the scene in the swimming pool? Not in the swimming, like by the swimming pool. There's like a pool party.
Yeah.
And there's like the guy with the video camera, and he's like calling out a girl.
No, he's calling it the guy.
No, the guy with the camera is calling, like, catcalling a girl, and the guy steps in, right?
Oh, yeah, something like that.
I didn't see the video camera at first, because he was blocked by another guy.
Yeah, it's very out of the way. I don't think the camera's really important to that scene, is it?
Well, from like people I watched, they're like, the whole idea is like this guy's filming them, like, hey baby, dance for me, Girls Gone Wild type of shit.
Oh.
So that I didn't even register that, because I just thought it was some guy like calling at a girl because she was in a bathing suit.
Yeah, I just thought he was like trying to flirt with her or something. Yeah. I didn't realize it. Well, there was like that one shot earlier where it's like on TV where it looks sort of like a Girls Gone Wild thing. So maybe that's supposed to be a continuity from that.
Maybe.
Although
The
it looked like a private house with a pool. So I was confused.
yeah. The other one was do you remember there's that girl walking down the street and like the guy comes out of a diner and he's like, "Whoa." And the
Oh, I wanted to talk about this one.
Yeah. The guy's like, "Oh, not cool, not cool." One, his mouth, he doesn't mouth along to the words "not cool, not cool."
Oh, the ADR is bad.
Yeah. So there was that, and that kind of bothered me, just because like I'm like editing videos all the time, so I'm like I don't think it's that difficult to get that right, especially it seems like that.
If your video is gonna get 23 million views in a week, you should probably make sure the ADR is okay.
Yeah, and the other thing about that part itself was, like, I mean, I'm sure the context of it was that guy had like malicious intents, but it never,
doesn't really come across.
it doesn't come across at all. He just sees a pretty girl and he wants to talk to her, and the guy's just like, no, not cool. And then, I mean, the thing about that is, that's how a lot of people meet. That's how a lot of relationships start. So, I don't know. It was that part of it was just really weirdly executed.
Look, Gillette's message is don't have sex with women. Okay? Let them have sex with you. But no. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, they did try to he tried to make a very stereotypical sleaze face when he was approaching.
Yeah, there were like little things where you can obviously see that they want to portray this guy as a douche who's gonna bother this girl, and sure, but the thing is, you don't really give us any other context than that.
Yes, and what I found funny about and what I wanted to talk about was that I understand that it's under 2 minutes, so they gotta condense everything. But that scene, the guy coming out of I think it was a diner. The guy coming out of the diner, in no way had enough time and information to know what the guy was doing. There's just no way. The guy hardly began moving. He was turned away from him. Now we're just talking about the semantics of the of the videography, but
I'm not anti-Semitic.
I'm not anti-semantic. Well, that would be Gillette's new ad. Is that if you don't shave, you're a Nazi. They're like Hitler didn't shave that middle part, so but no, so when there's no way he could have processed anything well enough to know as soon as he comes out to block this guy who seems like his friend, I guess, because you wouldn't really block a stranger that way.
I was gonna say he must be someone he knows if he's so ready to act.
Yeah, and he wasn't acting aggressively or anything. It was sort of how you would react to a friend. But it's completely random. He just jumps out and he couldn't possibly know the context. And it's okay, well, also if that's your friend and he constantly does stuff that you think is like that, why would you be his friend? I understand that Gillette is not trying to create a cinematic universe here, so we don't have to get too much into the lore of these friends, but I just thought that was so stupid.
Oh man, they should make a lore. I think that'd be pretty interesting.
I mean, I think that would be a better use of time and money than ads like these, but they call it a short film.
Yeah, they did it because it's longer than a typical ad, I guess.
Well, that's a bit of a slap in the face to short films.
Yeah, it really is.
But anyway, that's Gillette. You have any other thoughts on it?
No, not necessarily. After reading through the swamp that is the comments on Twitter and YouTube about the ad, I just needed to watch something that regained my faith in humanity.
Rogained?
Yeah, Rogaine. Rogaine. Gillette, you better watch out. Rogaine's coming after you.
Rogaine says it's okay to harass women. Buy our products.
But yeah, I went to, I wanted to watch. You know, do you remember the band Walk Off the Earth?
Yes.
The guys who did the cover of Gautier on that one guitar.
Mm-hmm.
They're the bearded dude who never sings, always playing instruments.
Wait a minute. He's got a beard. Go ahead.
Yeah. So his name is literally Mike Beard Guy Taylor. He died a few weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah. So my friend had told me about it, and then there was a tribute concert in Canada where they're from, and they had like the Bare Naked Ladies on there, a couple other Canadian bands. So I guess Bare Naked Ladies are there. Gillette would not approve.
I was about to make a comment about it, but I didn't want to keep on interrupting you.
So I went to go watch that, and then I was like, oh man, you know, it's cool to see all these people come together. And then I went to go, I watched more like memoriam concerts.
Okay.
And I just put myself in. It's weird. I felt better after watching those things. I felt better watching those things, watching all these people come together, singing the songs of people who passed away, than I did from the comments of that ad.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'd much rather watch videos of dead people than watch Gillette ads.
Yeah, so I went and saw Frank Turner do a cover of a Frightened Rabbit song back when the Frightened Rabbit lead singer died.
They died?
Yeah, he died, I think, half a year ago.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I think he did end up committing suicide.
Jeez.
Yeah, so, which is, like, a lot of what his music is about, all that kind of stuff. And then I just kind of sat there and I was like, when did my music taste become really, really sad?
Just right after the commercial, I guess.
Right after Gillette, I'm like, oh, I gotta listen to some sad shit. But no, I realized that, because and then I thought about like all the fun, more pop artists I used to listen to when I was like in middle school. Which is a funny thing because I look down so much on middle school me, and a lot of it, maybe not a lot of it, but a good amount of that is because of my music taste.
Oh yeah, I mean you can drive yourself crazy. I mean, first of all, thinking about the things that you did when you were a kid, but then also thinking about the trash that you listened to.
Oh yeah, not even listen to, just things you watched, things you played, or everything like that. Like I remember for a while, me and my friend really liked the song "Let It Rock" by Kevin Rudolph and Lil Wayne.
Oh, that was a popular one, wasn't it?
I think it did become pretty big. Like,
wait, how does part of that go? I know what it is. I just can't remember.
Are you just trying to get me to sing on this podcast?
Yeah, could you sing the whole song for me and then post the lyrics in the chat?
How did it go?
No, I honestly I can't really remember exactly.
Nah, I can't remember the lyrics, but it was like na 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 you come alive, something like that. It was really not great music.
Wait, no, that's not that.
Yeah, it's that. Let it rock, let it rock, let it rock. I was singing the
maybe
verse. That was the chorus.
Okay, I still don't recognize it. Thanks for that, though.
Maybe, God damn it. Maybe you're thinking of Kid Rock.
Ah, there we go. I'm thinking of Lil Wayne's iconic song. I'ma pick the world up, then I'ma drop it on your fucking head. And
Also,
then that's the lyrics for the whole song.
Also, for anyone who's listening, who's played all through Red Dead, try and tell me that Kid Rock does not look like Micah. I think you should probably look up.
Oh, I know. I know what you're saying. Micah, you said? Let me look this up.
Yeah, Micah. Micah. What's his last name? Micah Bell.
Micah has a more impressive mustache.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, I'm just now noticing that Kid Rock kind of looks like a slightly older cowboy Macaulay Culkin.
Actually,
Some pictures.
Yeah, like the pictures where Macaulay looks kind of fucked up. if it's those pictures you're referring to, I agree 100%. But I think Macaulay Culkin was on like the Joe Rogan podcast recently, and he's cleaned up. He looks okay.
I find it so hilarious that because Macaulay did like the PR rounds recently. He went on to a bunch of online shows and whatnot because he was launching his new website, I believe. It's like Rabbit Ears or something. I can't remember exactly what it is. But it's just so funny because yes, I agree, he is looking better, but he must, if he pays attention to it, but he must get so tired of whenever he's in a video, I've seen on YouTube at least, one of the top comments will always be, I'm so glad he's doing better. He looks so much better. He looked so bad before. It's like a weirdly rude comment about like how terrible he looked before and they're glad he's healthy. It's like, imagine him reading all those and it's just like every time he makes an appearance now, it's like, oh, I'm glad he doesn't look like shit anymore.
It'd be funnier if on one of those shows like the that's what the host says.
Yeah, he's like, man, I saw some pictures of you online a couple years ago. I'm glad you're doing better. Hi, I'm Kid Rock. I'm your father. I don't know what Kid Rock sounds like.
Probably like an idiot.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I look you up on Google and 99% of the pictures you're in, you're wearing a brimmed hat, you sound like an idiot. If your brimmed hat has a brimmed hat, you might be a redneck. Is that guy still alive even? I'm sure he is.
Rock?
Yeah.
I think he is.
I just want
Rock or Macaulay?
No, I'm talking about the comedian who did the "You Might Be a Redneck" bit.
Oh.
From Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader fame.
Oh, the host?
Yeah.
Smarter than a fifth grader? Jeff Foxworthy?
Jeff Foxworthy. There you go. Yeah, I'm sure he's
Is
alive.
he Canadian?
Oh, he's only 60. Says he's an American stand-up comedian.
Oh. Why do I think he's Canadian?
Oh, he's got events coming up too. Alright, hold on. I see there's a couple of top quotes here. Top quotes for Jeff Foxworthy, so I'm going to read you a couple of them. You may be a redneck if you've spent more on your pickup truck than on your education. It's been insulting. I mean, people need to have jobs. They don't always go to school. But okay, let's read the next one.
I mean, isn't it okay because he's a redneck? Isn't he a redneck?
Well, that's the thing. It's sort of like it's okay because I'm. But also think about. I mean, he must be a millionaire, right? If not a millionaire, I'm sure he's well off, unless he spent it all on trucks. Let me read you the next one. If your neighbors think you're a detective because a cop always brings you home, you might be a redneck. That's a specific one. I've never been jealous, not even when my dad finished the 5th grade a year before I did. Does that do anything for you?
No. Is that where the inspiration for the show came from?
What, for Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Yeah.
Oh! Hey, that actually might... He's just trying to...
Excited.
No, that makes sense. We're building out the universe. This is the... this is the Gillette Jeff Foxworthy cinematic universe. That makes sense because he's seeking out kids who... I'm sorry, no, adults who are as uneducated as him and his father are.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I remember when that girl from American Idol was on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? I forgot her name. Kelly? No.
Kelly Clarkson.
Blonde. No, not Kelly Clarkson. This girl's is like super southern. Let me look her up.
That's the great thing about a tractor. You can't really hear the phone ring. That's one of his quotes.
What? Kelly Pickler.
Kelly Pickler?
Yeah, she was on the show, and she's... Oh, let's just say she didn't win.
I mean, who does win that show, am I right? Not Paula Deen. I don't think she won.
What?
What? Paula Deen was on the show.
Oh, was she? I thought you were just making a random joke.
No, this is before all the comments she made, but... Now, hold on. Okay, let me just read one more before we get off of Jeff Foxworthy.
Get off me!
You might be a redneck. Get off of me. Find something in life that you love doing. If you make a lot of money, that's a bonus. And if you don't, you still won't hate going to work. Wait. That's just... That's just an inspirational quote.
Yeah, it's
I thought
one of those posters you put up on your high school locker.
Yeah, that's something that you put into your single white girl apartment. What the? I thought I was reading his stand-up. Wait.
Speaking of funny inspirational quote things, so I was at a like a camera store, like a photo studio camera store type place. My friend was getting one of his pictures printed, so while waiting I looked around, and this couple had done one of their pre-wedding photo shoots.
Tasteful nudity.
No, you'd get stoned for that here.
Oh, sick.
So it was like a collage. Is collage the right word? Probably not.
Like a bunch of pictures put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's collage.
Okay, so it was a collage, and in one picture they're both holding like little signs that have statements or quotes on them, and the guy's thing, his one says, "I'm going to tell her I love her every day because she's beautiful or she deserves it." I can't remember exactly.
Is that what the sign said?
Yeah,
Because I love her or she's beautiful. I can't remember.
But well, yeah.
Calm down.
So his one says that, and the girl's one is, "I'm going to learn how to cook."
Oh no! Way to start off, because I'm sure maybe they didn't show each other the things beforehand. It was sort of like, write down one resolution that you're gonna have during your marriage or whatever.
Yeah, it might have been, or it just might have been something that the studio had lying around.
That's.
I thought
that
that
guy.
was fucking funny.
That guy is gonna look at that picture and be like, "Oh no, what did I do?" So yeah, we got a bit off track from music, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
I forgot that you were bringing that up before.
Oh well.
Got a couple more Jeff Foxworthy quotes for you.
Bring it.
My father-in-law gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning and watches the Discovery Channel. I don't know why there's this big rush to do this.
Wait, is that the full line?
That's the whole quote.
What?
Let me read it again for you. My father-in-law gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning and watches the Discovery Channel. I don't know why there's this big rush to do this. That's one of.
I'm dumb, or me hearing that joke has made me dumber.
I don't think it's a joke. Well, it's sort of a. Well, it's not funny.
What the fuck?
All right, let me just read the last one in this list. It seems like there's like 10 quotes here. I don't know where these quotes are.
Who's better? Who's better? Jeff Foxworthy or Larry the Cable Guy?
I don't listen to either of them. Probably the one with the reddest neck. So Larry the Cable Guy. I mean, he did those Prilosec commercials. He probably made a lot of money on that.
Commercials?
Prilosec?
Is that the heartburn?
Yeah, the heartburn medication.
Yeah, I thought, wow, they really they really cast the perfect guy for that.
That's exactly the kind of guy who gets heartburn but does not change his diet.
Exactly.
Like, you might be a redneck. Wait, no, that's Jeff Foxworthy. Well, okay. You might.
Same thing.
Yeah. You might be a redneck if you're having health problems, but you don't change your diet or lifestyle. That's
Giggity.
yeah, it's something a little quagmire in there. One more. My grandma's the most careful, safe driver in the world. You put her in a rental car and she's doing donuts in the Kmart parking. Wait. Oh, I guess he's talking about rental cars in this context. See, the thing about notable quotes, right, is that when you're putting them together, you want them to have meaning outside of the context.
Yeah.
But okay, that's enough. That's enough attention on Jeff Foxworthy. Oh, I see Larry the Cable Guy. Does he have famous quotes here?
I'm sure he does.
I'm not seeing them.
They're all lines from his ad.
Oh, he was in Cars and Cars 2?
He's
Is he Maynard?
Toe Mater, yeah.
Larry's got to be more successful. He's got to be. That's how you know we're in the quality comedians, because there's a picture of Jeff Dunham here.
Me and my friends in middle school, I guess this is kind of a good way to like go back to that conversation. We loved Jeff Dunham in 6th, 7th grade.
Did you love his terrorist puppet?
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
We all really liked his sets, especially the Ahmed.
Well, wasn't that the character, or is that?
Oh, he has multiple puppets.
Oh, I thought you just had the one skeleton, the dead terrorist or whatever.
Yeah, so he has Ahmed, the dead terrorist, and he has like a grumpy old dude. And he has like Mexican. He has a jalapeno with a Mexican accent.
Wow, this guy's a comedy genius.
I know, right? I wonder if he gets paid millions though, doesn't he? I think he has.
Does he still perform?
Like.
Oh yeah, he has events coming up.
Doesn't he do a thing in Vegas where he performs all the time at some hotel?
I don't know, but I'd believe that would probably be a thing that would happen in Vegas.
All right, so I found an article. I think it said that he has $100 million contract with the Mirage in Vegas.
Oh yeah, the Mirage. Oh, I'll keep that in mind as one place I shouldn't go.
I can't remember who it was, but I was listening to like a stand-up comedian on one of their podcasts, and they weren't talking about Jeff Dunham, like they didn't name him, but it was really obvious they were talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
Just calling him out, like this guy has $100 million contract, he's not even funny, blah blah blah.
Oh well, I mean, sure. I mean, at the end of the day, he's getting money for it, so I guess somebody's watching at the end of the day. But it's like, oof, that's not for me. But apparently, it was for you.
Well, it was for 6th, 7th grade me.
If you had dropped out at the 5th grade, you would have been a fan of. Shit, I already forget his name. Jeff Foxworthy.
What else did I do in middle school? I'm embarrassed about.
Oh, is that where we're going now? Embarrassing middle school stories?
Well, I'm trying to keep it with like music, things we watch type thing. Well, I know that like one of the reasons why like my music taste did change in high school was like in middle school the songs that I knew but no one else knew was like old songs that basically my dad's songs, like Springsteen and all that, and I thought that was cool.
Oh, I thought Don't you still like Springsteen?
I do. I like but it's like because
I like it.
because he's a good songwriter, especially as a live artist. I have a lot of respect.
Are you crying?
No. Fucking sick, dude.
I just think he's a really good writer, and
no, and as a live performer, he's awesome.
Have you seen him live?
No, my dad hasn't either.
Then shut up. No, I haven't seen him.
I remember actually on my way back to campus one night from the city, I had my earphones plugged in. I know something you don't like to do. But I get out the subway, and then I hear like what I thought was people fighting. So I took them off, and it turns out there's a Springsteen concert going on, and everyone was just going, Bruce.
For a second, I was like, why were they going Bruce? But then I remember that was his first name.
Yeah, I remember watching those concerts when my dad would watch them, and everyone in the audience is just going Bruce, but it to the untrained ear it sounds like booze. So I'm like,
yeah, that sounds a lot like that.
Yeah, they're going to his concerts and booing him. What shitty people.
I mean, people do although maybe it's a strategic move by him, because even when he's doing terribly and they're booing him, he just thinks they're saying Bruce.
Very smart. That's why.
No, but when you said, that's why he's Bruce. No, but when you said,
yes,
that, yeah. When you said Bruce, no, when you said listening to your,
what is wrong with you?
I'm just thinking about Bruce.
Wayne?
No, Master Wayne. When you said listening to your dad's music for a second, I thought you meant that your dad made music. I was like, oh, how come I haven't heard of this?
Oh, no. Like, the music he listened to, which was all people of Springsteen's era. So, Springsteen, Dylan,
Bruce. Okay, well, so it's people of his era. What about so when you were a wee lad in middle school or so? Uh, what were you listening to besides Lil Wayne?
Um, so the first two albums, like I bought, because I obviously I didn't buy it. My mom or my dad did. But the first two that I wanted to get, first one was, I think the first one was Green Day, American Idiot,
Ooh,
and the other one was Simple Plan.
ugh.
And I know we've sort of touched on this because I remember having a conversation in college with our other friends talking about how I liked the American Idiot album, and then everyone else was like, ugh. That's when I lost Green Day. Basically, for everyone else, that's when they lost them.
I mean, I liked American Idiot.
Oh, and maybe not necessarily. It wasn't the music, was it? It was the look they were going for. They were a lot more emo. They got
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
They
was
were.
like the dyed hair and the eye black and everything like that.
Yeah, I didn't really care. I thought they looked fine. Like I feel like, especially even back then, I cared way less about like
Appearances,
who the band was,
right?
and like I didn't. Well, just in general, my opinion of celebrities has been pretty much the same since I was a kid. It's just like I don't. They're just people making things that I like.
Right.
Like I don't really look up to the people necessarily, even though I mean they got talent or whatever. But like I don't. I don't know. It's just not a thing that I do.
I like where you stop that statement. You know, even though they got talent and whatever, and I don't.
Bruce. Um, that was a
Uh,
bit of a cow sound, actually.
yeah, it was.
Is there a is there a famous football player named Bruce?
Uh, the former coach of the U.S. His name is Bruce Arena.
Bruce Arena?
Bruce Arena, like stadium.
His last name is Arena?
Yeah.
Bruce Arena.
Yeah, he sounds like a location.
He actually sounds like the female form of Bruce. Bruce
No,
Arena.
he sounds like a nickname, like the annoying nickname people give you. Hey, Bruce
Like
Arena.
like a frat nickname. Hey, Bruce Arena. I'm still hearing a female name, to be fair.
Like Bruce.
So no players, just
Arena.
just the coach.
I don't think none that come up in the top of my head.
Speaking of the top of your head, uh, last night I shaved my head again.
Oh no, why? Because of Gillette.
Oh no, yeah, Gillette. It was a part of my protest. It was actually a uh, Gillette razor. So
Burn it,
burn, yes. Um,
Bruce.
I just felt like doing it because I hadn't done it in a while. I felt like doing it because I hadn't doing it in a while. You might be a redneck if you don't burn your Gillette razor. Um, but actually, I said that in Larry the Cable Guy's voice.
Yeah, that was.
If
closer
you
to
get
him.
frequent heartburn, you got to call Bruce.
That should be the ending clip.
Oh, actually, you know what? We'll end it with another Jeff Foxworthy quote. Let me just find one I haven't said. Okay. Jeff Foxworthy quote.
Our last Jess.
Jess Bruce Areno.
Our last Jeff Foxworthy quote for today.
I say, if everybody in this house lives where it's God first, friends and family second, and you third, we won't ever have an argument.
Bruce.
I'm going to give that one a boo, honestly.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
If you've ever made change in the offering plate, you might be a redneck. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. This has been episode 4 of Mebois Podcast. If you're liking what you're hearing and you want to let us know, comments are great, likes are great. If you could subscribe so we know people are actually out there and it's not just us refreshing the video over and over again, that would make me feel a lot better about myself. And I'm sure Ray will be able to sleep at night as well.
I need sleep.
Thank you.
Shit.
There's always that delay, and like I talk over you. And this is Ray. Do you want to record anything to put at the end, or do you want to stick with that, or what do you want to do? We just leave this in too.